In a world where insanity reigns supreme and safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, it's comforting to know an ancient, fat, long-haired, bearded reprobate has your mind in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, and despite every attempt by the SHR Media Network to revoke his shameless contract, we return to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, as you well know. I am, I've got a great guest tonight. I've got Jeff Dunitz. I've got you listening in. I've got you listening in live. I've got you listening later on in podcast. I've got you watching on YouTube. And I don't have you watching on Facebook because it told me we're not doing anything with you tonight on Facebook. I got to tell you this. You got a belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat, and it's great to see you back tonight. It is Tuesday, 12/3, December the 3rd, the year of our Lord 2019. And Angel is going to be your bartendress tonight. She pours with the best of them. The lava lamp is in fact lighted to my right, your left, indicating that you can listen and chat at shrmedia.com. That's the only place you can find the chat room, shrmedia.com. I also have to tell you that we don't water our drinks like, well, just like. We don't water our conversation, politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the Saloon. At the Saloon. Nothing is sacred. The speech is free, but the booze is not. Who was that? Who was that masked man? All we ask is that you flush the toilet, jiggle the handle, and please tip your waitress. Don't forget to tip your waitress or your server. It depends on who you get. Right? Right. Tonight, in the first hour, it's Jeff Dunitz, who, on Facebook right here, if you look, he says, look, I'm ready when you are. So, Jeff, I guess that means, I forgot to tell you what's going to happen in the second hour. In the second hour, I have more happy stories than you can shake a dead wombat at. And I have to tell you, you can shake a lot of stuff at dead wombats, clearly. Let's see if I get... there we go. So let's... I almost forgot this. You know the whole impeachment thing? It's all about, well, that evil Trump making that quid pro quo on a call to Ukraine, which Joe Biden actually did. And there's video of that, but now that's immaterial. Come on now. Welcome to Yid in chat. Good to see you there. And the Alaskan in chat. Good to see you there. Full of turkey. Am I full of turkey? No, I'll tell you my turkey story in just a bit. And like I was saying in the second hour, anybody curious about what was actually in that call? And people were saying, well, look, here's the transcript of it. Did anybody read the transcript? Tonight, in the second hour, you're going to be a lot smarter because I'm going to tell you what was in the transcript, read from it, and then, you know what? Like an adult, you can decide for yourself whether this impeachment stuff is full of crap or whether it's, honest to God, it could be valid. It could be extremely valid. Or maybe it isn't. Or maybe instead we should see if we can contact Jeff Dunitz.
Oh,
It sounds like Jeff Dunitz. Is this Jeff Dunitz one each?
well, let me look in the mirror. It looks like me.
Okay. All right. Cool. Great to see you tonight. Hey, you're getting a phone call.
Great to see you. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you. But if you're
Okay.
But if you're looking at, I got to tell you this. Facebook and I have not been getting along together real well, as people may know. And
Really?
Yeah, I know. Are you sitting down? I hope you're sitting down when I tell you this stuff, because it's a story. It's a tale of grief and woe. But if you're
Can I just tell you one thing, though? Because
Sure.
I have to admit something.
okay, please.
Okay. While I have hairy legs like Joe Biden, I've never asked young children to rub them.
Another
Does that
question.
make me a bad person?
I'm wondering. But does the hair on your legs, does it get lighter in the summer like other people we know?
Yes, but not the hair on my head, because that's a limited commodity.
Oh boy, I'll tell you what. What happened to me is that for whatever reason, when I got older, all the hair took a detour, and all the hair on my head and all the hair in my armpits decided that they were going to take a detour to my ears. So
I got the same problem. My ears and my nose.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you have to ask yourself, what's that all about? So what is it? What's that all about?
I think it's a trick.
I'm wondering if it's an optical occlusion.
No, it's the Russians.
It is the Russians. Darn it!
Everything is the Russians.
If I'd known that you were going to make a reference to Joe Biden and that wacky comment, you know what? At the bottom of the hour, I'll go try to find that, because people who may be unfamiliar with Uncle Joe 30330. Uncle Joe 30330 made a couple of wacky comments over the past weekend, in the past week. One of them was about his leg hair. And during the break, at the bottom of the hour break, I'll see if I can't find that, because it really was weird. Really.
Can you grab it off of Twitter?
Really weird. Well, as we're talking,
Because I have it on a post, but it was the Twitter version.
Yeah, I think it was Twitter too. Okay, that's a perfect time to introduce this, folks. I'm talking to Jeff Dunitz, none other than...
I like that guy.
I like that guy too. I do. It's like Sally Field. You like him. You really, really do.
Yeah, but I've never slept with Burt Reynolds.
No, me neither. But he does have hairy legs.
I don't know. He's been dead for over a year.
There's photographic evidence when he was in Playgirl of him laying down with a strategically placed pillow, and I remember dude had some hairy legs. Oh, he didn't have hairy legs. Dude, I'm sure you didn't see it, but he had hairy like everything. And I bet this is either going to make people cringe or it's going to make people go, oh, that's cool. I could pet him like a bear.
He's gone straight into the gutter.
He had back hair. So I know chicks that when you hear that, they go, ooh, like I said, I can pet it. I can pet him. That's really nice. And other chicks, they go, oh, that's just disgusting. Welcome to the Alaskan in chat. Of course, Yid with Lid in chat, Dave Milner in chat, and one viewer in chat. And thanks for listening today to everybody who you might not be in chat, or the American truckers who are driving around keeping America rolling, so to speak, transporting all sorts of good stuff during this very critical transport time for everyone, including Santa Claus, and also all the people that are listening in podcast right now. Here's what you need to do, folks. If you've never listened to Jeff Dunitz before, you must go quick like a bunny on your favorite search engine and go to lidblog.com. Lidblog.com. For those of you who just tuned in, that's lidblog.com. And there you will find Jeff Dunitz. He is a pen master extraordinaire, writes 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 posts per day. Jeff, question. What's the greatest number of posts that you can recall making in one day? Is there a...
I've done 6, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yesterday I did 5, and today, because I don't know, I've been, what's the word? I've been really fried. Yesterday I only did 2.
Yeah.
But today's 2 were excellent. Even though one of them I thought was great and nobody read it.
Well,
but what are you going to do?
As we customarily do, God, no. This is weird. Okay, let me run this by you. I was going to tell you my Facebook story, and you probably have another
Facebook story. I'm sorry.
Okay. The Facebook story is this. I start the show, and it's on Spreaker. You go to shrmedia.com, and you hear it through Spreaker. And I also simulcast and live stream the show through the SHR Media YouTube channel, which is up and running, and the SHR Media Facebook page, which is not running, right. Which Facebook tonight told me, you know what, you can screw off, because we're not going to, you can't, I think it said something similar to, you cannot perform that action at this time. So I'm not sure which. Either I've pissed off Facebook or SHR Media has pissed off Facebook. One of the two. Facebook remains off, pissed. One each. So I don't know. Facebook removed me for a while, about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And I may have said some kind of weird things. We made a reference to Joe Biden tell story of kids touching his legs. I went to Snopes.com. It says, did Joe Biden mention his hairy legs in public remarks? And so, let's see, Snopes said, true.
Yes, it is true.
Folks, because Jeff went there. Folks, do you want to hear Joe talking about his hairy legs? Jeff, do you want to?
I've heard it and written about it, but go ahead.
Okay, here we go. This is Joe Biden talking about his hairy legs.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again and look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. And I tell you what.
You can't write that just at the time when Uncle Joe is, he's chided for kind of getting close to kids and females and whatnot. He goes off with that. Did you, Jeff, at lidblog.com, did you mention that in passing in one of your articles, perchance?
Yes.
And, well, here's an article, and maybe this is the one to which you're referring. And I'm going to lidblog.com, folks, which is where you need to go if you want to read about anything political. Jeff has got it. He's all over politics in America and beyond, mostly America.
But I'm not all over little kids.
No, thank God you're not, unlike Uncle Joe 30330.
I used to tell little kids what to do, but now they're older and in their 20s.
Well,
and I'm nicer to them because they're going to pick my old age home one day.
Yeah. My cat is going to pick my old age home. I didn't have any kids, so if you were fearful about your kids, I'm really fearful about my cat. So I'm educating my cat about old age homes at this point. There's an article that Jeff wrote yesterday. It says, is Joe Biden losing it, or is he spreading malarkey? Well, that's an interesting point in and of itself. He drives a bus around from place to place. It says Biden president, text win to 30330 if you want to. And on the side of his big bus, it says no malarkey. I was in the chat room. Dave Milner says nothing like educating your pussy. Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
A good point.
Yeah, spot on.
Dave always,
he gets to the point.
Right.
And do you think, Jeff Dunitz, there's one kid at all in the United States that can tell you what malarkey is? Because
not anyone under 70.
He has to somehow relate to people that he's trying to get to vote for him. So he decided, for whatever crazy-ass reason, that he was going to put no malarkey on the side of his bus.
Well, because he's over 70.
I don't get that. It's his no malarkey bus.
Well, what can I tell you?
So
I think, he's fighting hard. He started to really say harsh things about his opponents, but no longer will he say harsh things about Ms. Harris.
Oh, yeah, that's very true. Oh, gosh, that makes me...
But do you know why she had to drop out?
I could be bad and say something similar to she hadn't seen Willie Brown in a while.
No.
That's sort of an inside joke, I guess. So tell me, Jeff, why is that?
Because of racism.
Oh, you are right. The United States, the United States is jam-packed full of racists and misogynists because they don't like women and they don't like blacks. God, yes.
The sick thing is that she wasn't getting the black vote. They were voting for Biden.
Yeah, and I was just... You and I are consumers of politics, and you and I are consumers of news stories. For whatever reason, politics just really rings our bell, so to speak.
Well, my son says I'm a geek.
A political geek. Okay, all right. I'd have to put myself squarely in that camp as well. But it's interesting.
I would agree. For as long as I know you, and I know you longer than I thought I knew you.
Nor do you want to know me for much longer, but that's okay. Life will take care of that.
Much, much longer. Anyway.
Having said that, listening and watching various shows today, that point was hammered out on a number of shows, is that Joe Biden, the ancient white guy who Obama is not backing, and according to Joe, I'm not asking him to back me. Joe Biden is more popular than Kamala Harris. How does that happen? How does that happen, Jeff? That's nuts.
Don't look at me.
That's nutty. That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
Don Lemon said she isn't really black.
That's funny. She's half white and half Jamaican.
No, worse than that. She's half Indian and half Jamaican.
Oh, Indian. Okay, I thought she. All right, then my bad. Okay. Watch on video. So, this is me slapping myself for being wrong.
She doesn't have. She has no African in her.
Oh, maybe
Don
that's
Lemon
it.
says that she's not really black. But
okay.
I thought that referred to, pigmentation, not necessarily where you were from.
Yeah.
Well, what do I know?
Yeah. Listen, we're not Jamaican, you and I, and we're not Indian, you and I. So you're right.
I have a lot of Sikh friends, so I have a lot of Indian friends.
Oh, okay.
But they don't comment on that stuff, at least to me.
It's funny because folks who aren't familiar, number one, don't confuse Sikhs with Muslims. Very bad. Very, very bad. Poor form. And they'll tell you, don't do that as well. But Sikhs have a history of being a major bunch of kick-ass warriors. And when these folks decide to go to war, they're not playing around. So mucho respect to the Sikhs. And
can I add something to that?
Please do, sir.
The ones I do know are amongst the most respecting and nice people I've ever met.
There's an interesting comment in the chat room, and folks, you can go to the chat room right now. Go to shrmedia.com, click on live, and you'll see the chat room. Dave in chat said, Sikhs are cool. For one thing, they are great Second Amendment supporters.
Yes.
Hear, hear. Absolutely. And Dave also says, patriots with turbans. Cool.
They're conservative. Absolutely. Dave's right.
Way, way cool. And if I'm not mistaken, and I don't believe I am, it was a Sikh who was shot and killed in Dallas on Dallas PD, who was one of the few to be able to wear his turban, which is a sign of the warrior class in the Sikh community.
No.
No?
All males wear turbans. All males when they reach a certain age. Believe it or not, I went to a Sikh bar mitzvah. Okay.
Whoa. I'd like to see that.
Mitzvah, but when the kid became 13, he started wearing his turban, and there's a big ceremony.
Okay.
So I joke and say it's like a bar mitzvah.
Only for Sikhs.
Okay. Well, yeah, but when you reach a certain age, you put on your turban.
Way cool. And
I think so.
And mucho respect to the Sikhs. I found just before Kamala Harris decided to well, let me confirm this with you. Jeff, did she resign today or yesterday? It was one of the two. Today. Okay. I found an article which was maybe last week. And it made me wonder, okay, something wacky is going to happen to the Kamala Harris campaign, especially when something like this comes out in Yahoo. Here's Yahoo News, and the headline is Kamala Harris suffers new blow as aide resigns with a scathing letter saying, I've never been treated so poorly.
That was either Sunday night or Monday night.
It was November 29th, which I think was Saturday.
Saturday night.
In any event, I said essentially probably a couple of months ago, I find Kamala Harris as inherently likable as either a Western Diamondback rattlesnake or Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton comes off as cold as ice and not from Foreigner. I found Kamala Harris inherently unlikable, and she's about as cold as ice. I think, quite frankly, that had a great deal to do with her deciding to step out of her campaign. We also know that Hillary Clinton treats her staffers like crap and has a long history of doing so. This article indicates the same thing. A blistering resignation letter from a member of the Kamala Harris campaign paints a picture of low morale among staffers, of a directionless campaign with no real plan to win ahead of the crucial Iowa caucus. The letter read, while I still believe Senator Harris is the strongest candidate, I have never seen an organization, this is interesting, treat its staff so poorly. I no longer have confidence in our campaign or its leadership. The treatment of our staff over the last 2 weeks was the final straw. I also found this interesting. About a month, maybe even 2 months ago, ramping up to some of the Democrat debates, Marianne Williamson, she's out there.
Yeah, that's Oprah's spiritual advisor.
Yeah. I found her comment interesting in terms of, she said, the funny thing is about all of this is the people on the right are treating me a lot nicer than the people on the left ever have. I think that's inherent in the nature of the beast. Jeff, any thoughts?
You know what? All I can tell you is that the comments I get from people on the left they're never fact-based. They're never, I disagree with you on this point because of X, Y, Z.
Uh-huh.
It's, you're a shithead, or, you're a conservative maniac.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I find the same thing.
They're
However,
all... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
When it comes to Ms. Harris, I didn't like her when she was the DA, the DA for California, okay? Because do you remember the CMP videos about Planned Parenthood chopping up baby parts?
Oh, yes, and she decided that in her infinite wisdom, she was going to prosecute.
Right.
Well, here's
do you know why she did that?
Well,
do you know who helped her, who gave her a lot of money when she ran for DA?
I knew she had a relationship with Willie Brown, who was a big power broker.
But besides that.
Okay, go ahead.
Planned Parenthood. Tons of money.
Of course. God dang it. Why didn't I see that coming? I should have. And it makes perfect sense, does it not? I disliked her when she was the district attorney of San Francisco. There was a cop killer, and she decided and made it quite public that she was not going to go for the death penalty for the killer of a San Francisco PD officer. From that point on, she was gone to me. And then, of course, she became on the coattails. I'll be nice. On the coattails, I could say other things and pieces of Willie Brown, the original California power broker. She began to garner power in California. That's how she got her assignment as district attorney in San Francisco.
Let's just say she brokered his power.
Yeah. That's a very kind, Jeff, a very kind euphemism to use in this. So I will embrace that. That's a much classier thing to say. That's
what she did. She embraced it.
Yeah. Dave Miller in chat said Gabbard picked Harris's bones clean in the last Dem debate on her record.
Yeah.
It's funny you should mention that because I saw an article today. I think it was from Daily Caller, if I'm not mistaken, where it said Gabbard inserted the knives into Kamala Harris's campaign, and all along the rest of the people decided that they were going to essentially turn them, but it was Tulsi Gabbard who instigated the downfall of Kamala Harris's campaign. Wow, and I hadn't quite thought about it that way. That's a very unique and interesting way to think about it. Folks, we got 1 minute to go before the bottom of the hour break. And before we go to the bottom of the hour break, I have to play this insightful comment from Representative, former presidential candidate Eric Swalwell from California as he's speaking on air right now.
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans all last week was that you don't have anyone who heard the call. Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans...
I'm sorry. Maybe that's really petty of me, but it just really makes me laugh. Folks, we're talking to Jeff Dunitz, and we'll be right.
That was Ahmed, the dead terrorist. Saying, silence, I kill you. We could talk more about that after the break.
Okay.
If it's okay with you.
I'm going to go to the break. We'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
New show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. We were having a discussion in chat of Eric Swalwell farting. I'm sorry. I'm so easily gamed.
I wish we had the video on, because on my desk I have something called Pull My Finger Fred.
Okay.
And it's a funny looking guy sitting on a plush green chair, and when you pull his finger, he farts.
Oh, gosh. Jeff, folks, we're talking to Jeff Dunitz. My mind is so in the gutter right now. I'm sorry. I apologize. No, I don't apologize. Jeff,
don't apologize.
Jeff, did your dad ever do that to you? Did your dad ever walk up and say something similar to pull my finger?
However, I taught my kids that by the time they were a year old.
Okay. All right. Okay. I need to get...
My father taught me a lot of great things. He was a very good man. But he didn't teach me that. He taught me how to paint because he was a house painter and I used to go work with him. But, okay, I just want to say one thing about this whole Ukraine thing.
Okay.
He wasn't trying to get the information to screw Biden, okay?
No,
now,
you're right.
The phone call was the day after the disastrous Mueller hearings, okay? His phone call was the 25th. Trump spoke to Zelensky on the 24th. The 25th, and Mueller testified on the 24th, okay?
Right.
And if you read the transcript, first of all, he starts off by saying how Mueller did a lousy job, and nobody looked into the Hillary thing.
No.
And I understand the server is in the Ukraine. In Ukraine. I'm out of bad habit calling it the Ukraine.
Yeah, I know.
And, okay, he talks about, and the truth is that one of the founders of CrowdStrike, who has the server, is in the Ukraine. How you like that? And one of Schiff's people went to Ukraine the week after the what do you call it, was filed by the whistleblower, okay, the report by the whistleblower. And he met to meet with the guy who has the CrowdStrike, the CrowdStrike guy.
Right.
Okay. Okay. The other thing is if you read again the transcript, Trump didn't bring up Giuliani. Zelensky did.
Yes.
Okay. And then Trump went into it.
Yes.
Okay. So this whole thing, first of all, is being, well, obviously sold wrong by the media.
Right. Because they want it to be true.
And sold wrong, obviously, by the Democrats. But the other thing is, even Fox News is doing it the wrong way. He wasn't trying to get Biden. He was trying to get himself absolved of anything to do with the 216 interference. That's what he was trying to do.
The other question that logical thinking people should be asking is this: wouldn't you want a president to get to the bottom of any kind of perceived corruption before we provide hard-earned American taxpayer dollars to another nation state if we're afraid that we're going to piss all those dollars away? Isn't it incumbent upon a president, anyone sitting in the Oval Office, to do that job?
It's not incumbent on a president if there's a Democratic Congress.
Well, yeah,
okay,
true.
And one of the people who testified, although this isn't well publicized, he testified to say, you know what? Trump told me that he was holding things up because he's sick and tired of the United States paying for everything and Europe paying for nothing.
Yes, which is essentially what he told NATO today. I don't have the clips for that. That's probably going to be on Thursday.
I love it when he told Macron he won a ISIS fighter.
Yeah. That was so hot. That was wonderful.
Yeah, well, it is Macron.
It is, as I'm wont to say, that's
the weasel.
That guy.
Yeah.
We've got 20 minutes left in this hour, and Jeff Dunitz is here tonight with us, probably the last time that he'll speak to us in 2019, because he's got a busy schedule. He's got a lot of stuff to write, and we'll have him back. as many times as we possibly can. And I appreciate you being here, Jeff, because it's 8, 9, 10,
You
11.
ask, I come.
It's 11:40 right now. It's 8:41 where I am on the left coast, which means it's 11:41 where Jeff is, which is why I really appreciate it when Jeff literally does take the time to be here. I have about 3 more issues that I'd like to address with you.
Can I just bring up one thing quick?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's an article on my site that no one read that I want everyone to read.
Okay.
Mark Ruffalo, okay, and a lot of people made a big deal about it. Mark Ruffalo, who is worth $30 million thanks to Avenger movies.
Okay, I can see that.
That capitalism sucks, and we should convert to something else. And he's a big supporter of Bernie Sanders and socialism. A lot of people have criticized him for that. But I took it further, and I explained why socialism is bad, okay? And it's in there today. It has a picture of the Hulk, because Hulk's saying, capitalism bad, socialism good.
I found your story. It's a good point. Here's your story. I found it as you were talking. Dave, keep calling. Try it one more time.
My story is different than what most people are doing. Most people are just attacking him. I'm trying to explain why he's wrong.
Your article says, I found it, no Mark Ruffalo, capitalism good, socialism bad, enough said. And
well, that's a tribute to Stan Lee, who created the Hulk.
Stan Lee was a good guy. He was
I met him a couple of times.
Pretty far left.
Yeah, but I worked for Marvel. He was a really nice man.
But I bet that, yes, he was a really good guy. That I would bet, right. Most definitely. You wrote, Mark Ruffalo is going all out to prove that he's more like the Hulk, a character who acts on impulse without rational thought, than the Professor Hulk character he played in Avengers Endgame. The actor, whose net worth, just as you indicated, is approximately $30 million thanks to the U.S. capitalist economy, is railing against capitalism and supporting socialism. What the Hulk actor doesn't understand is antithetical to the Judeo-Christian tradition and the freedoms that helped to make America great. So he's one of a number of people who have made literally millions of dollars in Hollywood and yet hate the very system that allowed them to acquire that cash of money. I really do think it has a great deal to do with they are a massive privileged few. They become gaups, guilty, overeducated white people, into in an ill-fashioned attempt to atone for all of that. Because trust me, they ain't gonna give their money away. They have to make mouth music like, well, yeah, I'm with you guys. This is me, Mark Ruffalo, doing my very best at my own personal virtue signaling. Is that about right, Jeff Dunitz?
Well, yeah. It really is. And it really disturbs me because beyond that, too many people in this country are forgetting what socialism is all about. Okay? That it killed 100 million people in the 20th century.
Yes.
That it takes away your freedoms. You know, and I think Obamacare was a great example, okay, because remember how they put a tax on if you had a really good health plan?
Right.
They call it because really the goal of socialism, okay, is to make everything meet in the mediocre middle. So the goods got to come down and the bads come up. Well, guess what? That's not how the world works.
No.
Okay, but that's, you know, and if we went socialist, Mark Ruffalo would end up losing a lot of his $30 million because income would have to meet at the mediocre middle.
Well, if you embrace socialism, sooner or later you're going to get to communism. Socialism privatizes, makes the government provide for many aspects. And communism, when you get to the final end game, which truly is communism, that means that the individual has no power. The individual owns nothing. The individual owns no property. They don't even own themselves. The government, the state, owns it all. And then the government decides to give itself dachas, free housing, free health care, et cetera, and it's always going to be infinitely better than yours. I think I have Dave on a phone call. I'm sorry, go. Dave, are you there? I feel like asking, Tommy, can you hear me? Tommy, can you hear me? Oh, Dave, are you there? Okay.
He said he's connected, but no audio.
Okay. Damn it, Jim. Okay. Well, anyway.
Okay, and there are people that make out very well under a socialist system. The people running it.
Sure, exactly. It's the privileged few, just like the privileged few in D.C., who end up with all the power, all the control, and you have nothing.
And all the money.
And all the money.
Okay, and that's the issue. That's the real issue.
That is.
Okay. And you're not allowed to make anything. It's the way the socialist system works. Okay? And it's despotic. You know? And I'll say something that the liberals will hate every time I say it, but it's the truth. Okay? Fascism is a form of socialism.
Yes, it is. I agree.
So when I say that socialism has killed 100 million over the 20th century, that doesn't count how many Hitler killed, the 6 million Jews plus. Okay?
Right.
So it's more than that.
It is. I think in actual terms, it'd probably be like, I don't know, 150 million. It's almost as if leftists think every 100 years, maybe we need a population purge. Aren't they the ones that are saying it was Paul Ehrlich in the 60s who was talking about the population bomb? We need to bring the population down. We know that was full of crap. And now the leftists.
That's why Thanos did the snap.
Yes. Yes.
For those of you who aren't Marvel fans, Thanos gets the glove and he snaps his fingers and half the people on the earth disappear.
No, not just the earth, sir. The universe.
The whole universe.
The entire universe. 50% of whatever sentient being existed in the entire universe gone at the snap of a finger due to one individual. And tell me that there aren't people who... Yeah. And tell me that there aren't people who would love to have that power today.
You know what? Yeah, unfortunately, there probably are.
Yes. I got two more issues or questions for you before we wrap up. One of them is this. Well, I'll just tell you right now. One of them is an article that I want to discuss with you that it says, essentially, you can't make peace with anti-Semites. And I want to get your opinion on that. The final thing, excuse me, is I want to ask you, since this is essentially the end of 2019, I'll tell you what, let's address this right now. What, if anything, do you see on the horizon, Jeff Dunitz, for 2020? Any thoughts on what's going to happen in 2020 in terms of general elections, primaries, and then the presidential in November of 2020?
Okay. I think that Trump is going to win by a larger electoral college landslide than he did last time.
Okay.
I also believe that the GOP will keep the Senate, even though it's going to be close. They're going to lose seats. It's going to be close. But I also think that they might win the House back.
Okay.
I think Trump is going to be impeached. And I think the Senate is going to laugh and acquit him.
Okay.
Okay. I also think that the Jets aren't going to make the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, hell, since you're talking about that, how about the 49ers? Are the 49ers going to make the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Okay.
I always say that being a Jet fan is proof that God has a sense of humor.
Okay. If nothing else, that deserves a for tonight.
Okay. Now to your other point.
Well, I came across this article. This article was from the Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies, BESA.
Yes.
I've never heard that before. However, they have an article with the title, and I'm really curious what you think about this. It says, "You can't make peace with anti-Semites." The executive summary is this, and it was released yesterday, December 2nd. It says, "The time has come for Israel to stop willfully ignoring the phenomenon of Holocaust deniers in the Arab world and start fighting it. Dialogue and rapprochement cannot possibly start from a position of anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial." My first thought is that an earth-shaking worldview for someone in Israel? When people read that article in Israel, was there a collective intake of breaths going, oh, you can't write that?
Do you know something? They really won't agree with that because it's their children who are always under fire.
Yeah.
Okay. However, I don't know if I told you this, but I'm on the slate of the U.S. Herut Party to be elected to the World Zionist Congress next fall.
You are.
Yes. And I'm going to write about it and give everyone the opportunity to sign up and vote. Okay?
Wow. Okay.
However, one of the things that the Herut Party believes in is the words of one of the greatest Zionist thinkers, Zeb Jabotinsky. And Jabotinsky once wrote in a book called The Iron Wall, he wrote that it's incredible what political simpletons Jews are. They shut their eyes to the most elementary rules of life, that you don't meet halfway those who don't want to meet you.
And a proclivity or a tendency to do that is a situation that I have never understood. And I can say now that I'm speaking with you about this, I've never understood on the part of some people from Israel and, dare I say it, some Jews in America as well. I don't get it. You've explained it to me numerous times. I get your explanation, but I still find it extremely difficult to grok the concept of people eschewing that. It fails me. It fails me.
Well, the people of Israel have been, in a warlike setting, been attacked for over 70 years. Okay? They're tired of it. They're looking for a way to get out of it.
Maybe I can make this analogy. And Jeff, maybe you can weigh in on this and tell me how far off I am. Israel's current state would be like, I don't know, a state in the United States, about the same as Israel, and I'm not sure what state would qualify.
About the size of Jersey.
Okay, all right. Let's say you live in New Jersey.
But go ahead.
And let's say that in New Jersey, the people from, I don't know, New York are constantly launching rockets into New Jersey, going across the river, and it never stops. And they've been doing it for years. And you know someone that's been killed by those rockets, and yet for whatever reason, you're not going to complain about it all that much. But that's the size and the situation of what's occurring in Israel, and yet the people of Earth take umbrage with Israel attempting to defend itself from a constant barrage of rockets over decades that have been never ending. Wouldn't New Jersey have the right to defend itself in similar circumstances?
However,
no one would say, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, they do. But anyway, let me make it worse, because it's not the people of New York. It's the people of Pennsylvania and Maryland from below.
Okay, all right, let's use that.
That are launching wreck, because Israel is surrounded by mostly by enemies.
Enemies.
Okay. However, okay, much of the anti-Zionism in the world is really a substitute for the anti-Semitism of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Okay? That's really what it is. In the talk of BDS is anti-Semitic. Okay? Because it said, at its heart, it says that the Jews don't have the right to a homeland. Okay. But more than that, they're attacking Israel, and they don't want Israel to defend itself, and the UN hates her because it's anti-Semitic. Okay? That's why the Democrats are anti-Israel lately. That's why, Obama is an anti-Semite.
I believe it.
That's why Farrakhan is anti-Israel, because he's an anti-Semite. And the same thing goes with Linda Sarsour.
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
And Rep Omar.
Yep.
Okay, that's what's behind it. They hate Jews. And where in the world can you find the most Jews?
I know.
Okay, I think it's the United States, but the second is Israel.
The second is Israel.
Or Israel is the most, and the United States is the second. I haven't looked at a population thing in a long time. It doesn't matter. Okay? Israel is a place where it's all concentrated with Jews. So they hate Israel because she's loaded with those Jews. And that's what's behind it. Okay? I used to be able to say there's a difference between anti-Semitism and anti-Israel and anti-Zionism. There is a difference, but it's all semantics.
So are you saying there really isn't much more than a dime's worth of difference between any of those three?
It's just a different word for the same thing.
Anti-Semitism.
Okay. I'm not saying that if you criticize Netanyahu's policies or the Israel government's that's not anti-Semitic. But when you cross the line and says, you know what, Israel always commits war crimes when they don't. Israel puts up a wall, it's an apartheid wall. No, it's stop terrorism. Or Israel doesn't have the right to exist. That's anti-Semitic. When they say Zionism equals racism, that's anti-Semitic. And it's all because they've got too many Jews there.
Well, after all, it is Israel. Jeff Dunitz, I don't want to keep you up much later. Thank you very kindly for being here. Thank you for weighing in on 2020. Thank you for weighing in on Israel.
I love being on your show. Have me on anytime you want.
What I really want more than anything else, this is my one New Year's wish. I have a couple of others, but this is my primary New Year's wish.
This is the wish that doesn't involve porn.
No porn involvement. I want you to come back. I want you to come back Wednesdays on your show. I don't know how you're going to do it, but that's my New Year's wish.
And it sucked. I got to buy another one.
Okay.
Okay.
A laptop?
Because I was going to do it through Ken McClinton's network.
Okay.
Because it's easier and it doesn't use Spreaker, but his is only PC also.
Yeah.
Okay,
See,
so
there you go. You're in that evil Mac world. That evil Mac world. It's evil.
I'm working on it. But the problem is I got to get 2 PCs because the one that I originally got, I gave to my son for school.
Oh.
And he's saying it sucks.
Oh. Probably not enough RAM.
Okay.
That'd be my guess.
No, I got 16 megs of RAM.
You need 32.
Oh, come on, that's plenty.
Oh, you need 32. You really do.
No, the only thing I used it for was radio.
Well.
Okay. Now, my son is like a serious math major.
Okay.
I mean, he speaks in a different language. So I don't know what exactly he uses, but, I only use it for the show. It doesn't need anything more than 16. Matter of fact, before I bought it, you said 16 sounds good.
Okay, you're right. You're right. 16 should be able to do it. That should be able to do
right?
it. Okay. All right, you got me.
So I gotta get 2, one for me and one for him, and I'm waiting for there wasn't anything really great during Black Friday or Cyber Monday, so I might have to wait till after the post-Christmas sales, which are usually good. That's also when by the way, folks, if you go to like Walmart or Target the week after Christmas and you see Jews loading up on Christmas lights, that's how we get lights for our sukkahs. The huts we do during the holiday of Sukkot.
Okay.
And we buy Christmas lights, and we have lights in our Sukkot. Isn't that great?
Perfecto mundo.
Anyway, listen, I really mean it when please have me on whenever you want because I love being on the show.
Well, thank you very much, and I greatly appreciate it. That is/was Jeff Dunitz. Have a great night, a great seeps,
You
Sir
too,
Jeff. Because right now it's 4 minutes after midnight.
Oh, God, I'm going to turn into a pumpkin.
I know. I can hear it from here. So
you take care, man. Take care.
thanks, Jeff Dunitz. Thank you ever so kindly for being here tonight. I appreciate that. When we come back, do I have a ton of happy stories for you? And something that might make you laugh, I think.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian, Sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty voided Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media and the sumptuous, resplendent, and palatial SHR Media Studios, where I am broadcasting 2 miles east of the belly of the beast, the Bill Mill, the Capitol building in Sacramento, California, at 10th and L Streets, where late at night you can audibly hear the death of common sense. And as I walk out that door, I'll be able to smell the terrible noxious fumes of sulfur and brimstone from said evil. I heard this, and I just had to play it for you tonight.
I wanted to recommend a documentary to everyone, and then I'm going to go. It's about the...
Oh, come on. Do this again. Uno más. Now, is this Facebook messing with me again? Because Facebook was messing with me. Now, let's see. Facebook. Okay. I'm wondering. Here we go.
And then I'm going to go. It's about the men and one woman who abbreviated all 50 states down to 2 letters.
This is fun.
All you have to know for this is that we have 50 states in America, and they each have a 2 capital letter abbreviation. But that wasn't always the case. Up until, I want to say 1973, and so I will. Up until 1973, every state had its own length of abbreviation, and it was chaos. Like Massachusetts was MASS period. Florida was FLA. Utah was Utah. They just dropped the H, not much of an abbreviation. But then the post office said, no, every state has to have a 2-capital letter abbreviation, and so they convened a crack squad of abbreviators. They assembled a ragtag outfit of rogues, misfits, and ne'er-do-wells. How often do well? Ne'er. They ne'er did well. And they were charged with abbreviating all 50 states down to 2 letters. Now, I read this description to the documentary, and much like you, thought to myself, how are they going to make a 98-minute documentary about a task that couldn't have taken more than 6 minutes to complete? Boy, was I wrong. It was an adventure. Ups and downs, ins and outs, friends became enemies, enemies became friends. They started off, they thought it was going to be easy because Alabama lulled them into a false sense of security. They said, Alabama, AL, holy crap, this is easy. We're going to finish before they stop serving breakfast in the hotel restaurant. And the boss said, guys, if we finish before they stop serving breakfast, breakfast is on me. And then one guy said, oh, I hope they have an omelet station. Just for context, the omelet station had just been invented, and it was sweeping the nation. And this other guy said, you know what, I'm not comfortable with the omelet station because I feel like the omelet chef resents you. Like, he didn't want to be the omelet chef. Nobody dreams of being an omelet chef. He wanted to be the chef. Now instead of giving the orders, he's taking the orders from your stupid wife and your ugly kids. And I think one day he's going to snap, and I don't want to be there when it happens. And they were like, well, why don't you just get Eggs Benedict? And he said, I don't like holiday sauce. And he said, did you just say holiday sauce? Yeah, why? Because it's hollandaise, you moron? And then the boss said, guys, I hate to be a nudge, but could we get back to abbreviating the states? We still have 49 left. And apologies were made and an understanding was reached, and they got back to abbreviating. They said, what's next? They said, Alaska. Everybody cool with AL? But somebody caught it. One man sheepishly raised his hand and said, sir, I think we might have used that one before. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure. Well, let's check the minutes. Dottie, read the minutes back to us, hon. Dottie was the wisecracking secretary. Every 1970s office had a wisecracking secretary, and this one's name was Dottie. And Dottie was a pistol. You would love, she was a real hot ticket. Dottie, listen to what Dottie said. They said, Dottie, read the minutes. How Dottie is this? He said, read the minutes back to us. This is so Dottie. And she goes, you mean the minute? Oh, Dottie. Dottie, what are we going to do with you? Spank my ass and make me a martini? Dottie, you're incorrigible. Now read the minutes back to us, you randy minx. And she said, it's hollandaise, you moron. Et tu, Dottie. How do you know Shakespeare? You don't know hollandaise. That's a paradox. Alaska AL, Alabama AL. We did use that one before, boss. And the boss said, guys, not a big deal. We'll come back to it. It's not going to happen again. Okay. Certainly not going to happen 27 more times. Foreshadowing. So what's next? Arizona, AI. There we go. We're back on track. Next, Arkansas. Shit. No, we'll come back to it. It's not going to happen again. What's next? California, CA. There we go. Next, Colorado, CO, Momentum, Connecticut. We are screwed. Somebody needs a drink. Not now, Dottie. Not now, you vulgar lush. By the time they got to Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, followed by Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, and Missouri, shots were fired. They were at each other's throats. So they did what any savvy business would do. They hired a consultant. They brought in a contractor. I'm sorry, not a contractor, a contractor. A man... A man who made words smaller by combining them or apostrophizing them. And this guy was the best. He was a legend within that world. Like, you wouldn't know his name, but you know his work. Like, he wrote such timeless classics as O'Clock. Many years ago, people would say it's 9 of the clock, it's 10 of the clock. This visionary said we don't need the I can do that with a sky comma. He also wrote would've, could've, should've, the holy trinity of regret. He wrote the very innovative we'd've. He looked at we would have and said, I can do that in half the letters. And he was not without controversy. He also wrote the most controversial contraction of all time. He wrote won't. People said, how are you going to abbreviate will not use a single L? And he said, watch me. Are you saying I won't be able to do it? I just did.
All right. I got to admit, that's some funny stuff. Just out of curiosity, do you want to hear some other funny stuff? Because here's Jerry the Hutt back in, I think, 1998 saying this. Yeah, this was Jerry Nadler back on December 10th of 1998. And he's talking about the impeaching of President Clinton. And why that's a terrible thing to do. Listen to what he's saying and then know that now he's advocating for the exact same thing that he hated in 1998. He wants right now in the United States. Let me do this one more time. Dave, do you happen to be there? Because I don't hear you on this end. Okay. All right. So much for that. So anyway, here is Jerry Nadler, and insert Trump for Clinton whenever you hear it. And this is Jerry Nadler railing against impeachment. No impeachment until today. And Jerry the Hutt, take it away.
We knew quite properly that an impeachment of a president is an undoing of a national election.
That's right.
And one of the reasons we all feel so angry about what they are doing is that they are ripping from us, they are ripping asunder our votes.
Huh?
They are telling us that our votes don't count.
Right.
And that the election must be set aside.
Right.
He knew quite properly that an impeachment of a president is an undoing of a national election.
Isn't that true, Jerry? That really is very, very true. But now you don't seem much to care about that. That's funny. I wonder how that works out. Not well, apparently. I couldn't get Dave on. Apparently, the phone system is not ringing, so I'm thinking that right around this time, maybe it is time for...
It's time for happy stories and good times.
As we indicated before, Kamala Harris is out of the race. And it's because she had a crappy campaign. Of course, like Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton has plowed these fields before. The reason, except for one reason, is because she's a woman. So she's, all you misogynists out there, you're responsible. And she's black. So all you racist assholes out there, yeah, it's on you too, Cory Booker. But apparently, as I indicated earlier, this is my personal thought, Kamala Harris is not inherently likable. Just as Hillary Clinton is not inherently likable, a Western Diamondback rattlesnake is not inherently likable, so is with Kamala Harris. Now, earlier, I was looking for this article where essentially some people were saying that, you know, I think it might have been Tulsi Gabbard that actually put the knife in the campaign of Kamala Harris. So I found the article I was looking for. This is from the WashingtonExaminer.com. And this article, oddly enough, came out today. And it said, Tulsi Gabbard knifed Kamala Harris in July. 4 months later, she has died from the wounds. That's from a guy named David Fredoso, written today. Kamala Harris's campaign was over. This is why I love happy stories. Kamala Harris's campaign was over at 9:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on July 31st. Here's the tape of how it happened. Hawaii Representative Tulsi Gabbard was given this easy layup, and she dunked so hard she shattered? I'm thinking of Eric Swalwell again. I'm sorry. She shattered the backboard. Well, what did she say?
Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the...
Okay, stop right there. I've been told in a text that this is echoing in the YouTube section. So I have it in a different section. Let's play this again. This is Hawaii Representative Tulsi Gabbard, where she laid up and dunked on, July 31st, 9:26 p.m., during the Democrat presidential debate on that day, and essentially kicked Kamala Harris to the curb.
Issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response?
Cheap labor. Just thought I should tell you, it's the state of California inmates in various prison facilities that happen to make all the license plates, by the way, for the state of California. Yeah.
As the elected Attorney General of California,
here it comes.
I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. You're responsible.
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Done. Knives out. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, baby. You can't get more than that. The phones are not going to work. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to open this. Go ahead and speak. I know you're not going to speak. Okay. Let's move right along with more happy stories and more good times. People were saying that, Kamala Harris was leaving, etc. Well, she dropped out today. As far as I'm concerned, this is great news. Okay. It's a cause for celebration. Good riddance to Kamala Harris. And I'm kind of hoping that you're seeking further offices from this failed attempt. I can only hope that it's going to destroy your career and just besmirch your reputation for all time. It's a bad thing to say, but you're from California, and nothing from California should ever touch any other state at all, ever, period. Now, you want another happy story? Oh, I've got a million of them. Here's one from Newsweek. historically accurate election forecaster predicts Trump will win by an even greater margin in 2020. This is from Newsweek. Though President Donald Trump currently trails several leading Democrat candidates in early national polls, a research firm with an historically accurate model has him winning the 2020 election by a wide margin. The Moody's model has predicted presidential elections with success since 1980 until its very first miss in 2016. Like so many others, they predicted a Hillary Clinton win. In our post-mortem of the 2016 presidential election model, we determined that unexpected turnout patterns were one of the factors that contributed to the model's first incorrect election prediction. The model didn't account for the individual attributes of the candidates other than whether they belonged to the incumbent political party. In other words, it assumed Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were generic candidates, which they were not, the research firm basically confirmed. I'd say that happens to be a happy story. Here's another happy story. This came from the New York Post. And I'm going to ask you guys a question. CBP, the Customs and Border Patrol, seized thousands of fake IDs headed from China to New York. So let's see. Russia spoils everything. It's Russia that's the biggest, worst bad actor in terms of trying to negatively influence or undermine the United States of America. Stop. Wrong. It's China. China is sending us massive amounts of fentanyl, opioids. It's also, historically, it's been stealing all of our proprietary secrets, well, except for the ones that President Clinton provided and gave to China in 1994. That's a story for another time. But now we know that China, and they're killing our pets with melamine, I should say, in our dog food, amongst many, many other things. So here's an action where the Customs and Border Protection people seized thousands of fake IDs from China to New York. Federal officials recently intercepted nearly 3,000 fake driver's licenses and more than 3,100 blank card stocks used to make counterfeit licenses in Kentucky, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP. The IDs were heading from China to various locations in New York, the federal agency said, adding that the fake driver's licenses were seized at an express consignment operations hub in Louisville, Kentucky. So one question to everybody that's listening right now, and that would be this. These fake IDs, I wonder what the purpose of them would be. Would it be something similar to making sure that illegals can vote, or that Chinese can vote, or that they can topple somehow the election of Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump and Xi Jinping are not muy simpatico these days. They're not working like a well-oiled machine. And I'm sure, don't you think that China would essentially do anything and everything that it could to make sure that whatever well-oiled machine Trump is enabling right now absolutely tanks? And the answer is absolutely yes. I'll be right back after this. I'm BZ, the bloviating Zeppelin. You're listening to the Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. Now's a good time to get that cookie.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian, sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty voided Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. OMG. How did this happen? It's this... God dang. This is the final 25 minutes of the show. These clearly, at least for me, these are the fastest 2 hours on radio that you could possibly conjure. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I want to thank all the American truckers. You make America move, and you keep America moving. I want to thank you for listening live and also listening in podcast. Thanks to all the people who are listening to me live right now. Appreciate it. And also, I am picked up quite a bit in podcast later on because it's late. Okay, it's 9:35 on the left coast, which means it's 12:35 on the right coast. Not too many people up this late right now. So thanks to people who listen to me in the podcast. And also thanks to the people who are loyalistas in the chat room, to include Jeff Dunitz, the Alaskan, Dave Milner, Jack Alexander, and one viewer who will not be unmasked because that's not what we do here in the show. I was giving you a bunch of happy stories. Here's another happy story. The FBI uncovers a terror training camp in Alabama. Wait a minute, a terror training camp in That can't be true, but apparently it is true. This is a new story. FBI investigators found a training compound in Alabama linked to a group of suspected homegrown terrorists. An FBI search warrant described the property in Macon County, Alabama as a makeshift military-style obstacle course. Identified in the reports are homegrown Islamic terror compound facilities. It allegedly belongs to a group led by a 40-year-old guy named Siraj Wahaj, an imam indicted. Imagine this. Hope you're sitting down. An imam indicted on federal charges related to firearms violations and terrorism. I hope that's not a shock to you. Here's another happy story. This is weird. Greta, the teenage climate puppet, has decided that she's going to go full Marxist. I may do a story a little bit later on. So it's not good enough that she's she's a climate alarmist kid. Whoever listens to kids should be beaten resoundingly. She wrote recently, "To change everything, we need everyone. Each and every one of us must participate in the climate resistance movement. We cannot just say we care, we must show it. It is a crisis of human rights, of justice, and of political will. Colonial, racist, and patriarchal systems of oppression have created and fueled it. We need to dismantle it all." Meaning that, as far as she's concerned, everything needs to be dismantled, including you. And the reason this is a happy story is because it ain't gonna happen, Greta, you dolt. Here's another story from 13 WOWK in Ohio. The headline goes something like this. Ohio School District votes yes to arming its teachers. Mingo Junction, Ohio. Teachers in the Indian Creek School District will now be allowed to carry concealed weapons on school property. The resolution passed unanimously in a 5-0 vote on Tuesday evening. That is a smart school district. That is a happy story. Here's another happy story. A judge has recently ruled, this is from the Western Journal, a judge has recently ruled Covington students' lawsuits against NBC Universal, The Washington Post, and CNN, whereas before they were stymied, now they can go ahead. A Kentucky federal judge has now allowed 3 lawsuits filed by Covington Catholic High School students Nicholas Sandman to proceed. In his latest decision regarding the matter, Judge William Bertelsmann of the U.S. District Court of the Eastern District of Kentucky ruled this past Thursday that Sandman's $275 million lawsuit against NBC Universal can proceed. Hey, while we're on happy stories, how about this one? This is a happy story of 2. I should say 2 as well. This is from concealedcarrynation.org. Son saves family of 6. Takes out armed home invader with headshot while sisters hide in the closet. A planned attack on a family was thwarted by the son. This is from Houston, Texas. Tejas. Anybody see a thread here? A planned attack on a family was thwarted by the son who was returning to the home with his mother. Upon arrival, chaos was happening inside the home as 3 armed intruders ambushed the father as he arrived home from work and forced him inside. The armed suspects were hiding in the bushes when the father approached the home. 2 sisters inside hid in a bedroom closet while the suspect ransacked the property. The girls, a 21-year-old and a 15-year-old, managed to hit a panic alarm as the home invasion continued. Eventually, the suspects found the girls while searching the home. Now, shortly after this began, the son arrived in the home with his mother and another sibling in the vehicle. Once he realized something was going wrong, he grabbed his gun and went after the armed suspects in an attempt to stop them from terrorizing his family. One of the suspects, who was armed, was shot in the head. The other 2 suspects jump on top of the hood of the mother's car while she and another child were still inside. The mom drove away and located a police officer at a nearby Whataburger. As far as I'm concerned, that is definitely a story with a happy ending. Then there's this. This is from, of all places, from Bloomberg.com. Yes, I will. I'm waiting for some more promos. And Dave Milner in chat said one of these days, BZ will run my newer promo. I'm waiting for one more promo from somebody else, and there will be a new promo pack coming. So, Dave, yes, I'm acknowledging you. This is from Bloomberg.com. Of all places. Bloomberg? Yeah, that Bloomberg owns this. The headline is, "Give thanks, Americans. You're back to work." Pessimists thought that prime age employment would never recover from the Great Recession. This year, it did. If you find your Thanksgiving table descending into a fight about whether President Donald Trump's Ukraine scandal rises to an impeachable offense, put down the mashed potatoes, tap your wine glass, gather your family's attention, and tell them that this holiday is reserved for gratitude. If they doubt that American public life offers anything to be thankful for, ask them to consider this. The American people are finally back to work. This year, the rate of employment for people between the ages of 25 and 54, those who are mostly too old to be in school and too young to be retired, has finally recovered from the Great Recession. That's a happy story. Here's one from today. Brand new happy story. Trump boom. America is now the world's biggest oil producer. And who gets to have oil? Well, the United States does. Do we have to rely completely on what I call conflict or blood oil from the Saudis and from the Middle East? No, we don't. But if this were a Democrat, guaranteed in the White House, if there were a Democrat, Hillary Clinton, today, we wouldn't be in this position. We're in the catbird seat now, and Trump is working for you and me. Just remember, folks, vote red, everything red, in 2020. All your votes, all your primaries, vote red in November 2020. Never vote for another Democrat again. They're the mind killers. Democrats, leftists, and the American media maggots are an infection upon this nation. Never again. Never again. Former President Barack Obama famously challenged then-candidate Donald Trump's broad economic promises, asking, "What kind of magic wand do you have?" As everyone observing the past 2.5 years now knows, there was no magic wand needed. While the economic headlines overwhelmingly document record low unemployment, just like I said, and record higher stock prices, Trump is also delivering in specific areas he promised, such as boosting the nation's oil production. Last December, America became a net exporter of oil for the first time in 75 years. And now, for the first time, we are the largest producer of oil overall as well. That's a happy story. Here's another happy story. This is from Tennessee, from the Tennessee Star. The youngest black legislator in America won on a platform of God, guns, and babies. No, not kidding at all. The West Virginia House of Delegates convened Wednesday with a record setter in its midst, freshman Del Caleb L. Hanna, who became the nation's youngest black legislator following his election at age 19 in November of 2018. I always knew that I wasn't satisfied with the leadership I was getting within my own House district. I told myself if I ever had my opportunity to take that, I would give it my shot. Oh, and oh yeah, he won again. Here's from Fox News. ICE arrests, this is wonderful. I love the heck out of this. ICE arrests 90 foreign students at a fake Michigan university. Oh my God, you mean ICE did something fake to snag people? This is wonderful. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has arrested 90 additional foreign-born students in recent months in a sting operation at a fake Michigan university designed to draw in students who are trying to stay in the U.S. illegally, according to a new report. The University of Farmington advertised a dynamic business administration and STEM curriculum program But the students, mostly from India, knew that they would not attend any actual classes, earn credits, or make academic progress towards an actual degree, according to a January indictment. A total of about 250 students have been arrested since the school opened in air quotes, since the school opened in January on immigration violations by U.S. Immigrations and Custom Enforcement, ICE. Immigration lawyers said in March, after 161 students were arrested, the students did not know it was a fake university at the time. Well, we didn't know. No, we didn't know. It was a shocker. Imagine their chagrin. It was terrible to realize, I thought we're going to waltz in and just be able to stay here in the United States. But apparently it didn't exactly quite work out that way. Here's another story. This is, now this goes back to religion a bit. I told you I had a lot of happy stories. These are the things you need to know. A ban on Christian prayer at a high school football game is reversed by the 11th Circuit Court. A U.S. Court of Appeals has reversed a lower court's decision prohibiting two Christian schools from praying over the loudspeaker at the Citrus Bowl before a state championship game. The 11th Circuit Court acknowledged that Cambridge Christian School's argument that its free speech and free exercise rights had been violated have merit. I'd say that's a happy story. Then there was this. And also because of this story, a journalist, air quotes, a journalist got fired. Hey, BZ, could a defense lawyer argue that those arrested by ICE was an entrapment? That's always going to be a defense. Jack Alexander asked me. That's always going to be a defense in a case like this. In terms of federal law and entrapment, well, it's gone both ways. And a great deal of it is going to determine what? Is going to be determined, I should say, by what? That's right. Who you happen to have installed as federal judges, who you happen to have installed in appeals courts, and who you happen to have installed in SCOTUS. That's right. That's why you need to continue voting Republican and continue to vote for Trump in 2020. Speaking of Trump, this was a happy story by which a journalist lost their job. Once I tell you the story, you'll go, oh, yeah. Trump makes a surprise Thanksgiving visit to troops in Afghanistan. It wasn't on his schedule, but he went anyway to Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan. President Donald Trump paid a surprise Thanksgiving visit to Afghanistan, where he announced the U.S. and Taliban have been engaged in ongoing peace talks, and he said he believes the Taliban want to cease fire. In the meantime, he flew over there, didn't tell anybody about it, and this reporter, if you remember, said that no, Trump was here in the United States, and he's doing nothing on Thanksgiving. And about that time, that's when you can say bye-bye to that journalist. Here's another happy story. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't hear about this, but I suspect it's because the leftists and the American media maggots are not going to let you hear about when a situation is solved by a good guy with a gun against a bad guy with a gun. This is from NewYorkPost.com. The headline, this is yesterday. Wisconsin high school resource officer shoots armed student in classroom. That's a good guy with a gun against a bad guy with a gun. And we in the United States American media maggot class cannot let you know and cannot tout to you that, yeah, it's still in 2019 takes a good guy with a gun to get over on a bad guy with a gun. The chaotic scene unfolded at 10 a.m. when cops were called to Waukesha South High School for a report that a student took a gun to school. Cops located the suspect in a classroom and tried to de-escalate the situation, Waukesha Police Chief Russell Jack said at a later press conference. The student disobeyed their orders, he said. Well, let's see. The student has a choice. Anybody has a choice, whether they are a student or not, or whether they are mentally addled or not. You can either put down the gun in the face of cops armed, or you can be stupid. The student disobeyed their orders. The suspect would not remove his hands from his pockets and continued to ignore officers' commands, Waukesha Police Chief Russell Jack said at a later news conference. The suspect removed his handgun from his waistband and pointed it at the officers. About this time, you can say, ready on the left, ready on the right, already on the firing line. An officer was forced to discharge his firearm, striking the suspect. The unidentified suspect, obviously because he's a juvenile, sustained relatively minor wounds, according to the fire commander at the scene. The school was placed on lockdown. That is another story of a good guy with a gun triumphing over a bad guy with a gun. And the reason you didn't hear about it is because there was no school shooting, proving once again that guns are bad. Because that's the meme from the American media maggots. Here's another happy story from Fox. Texas teacher fired after asking Trump to remove illegal students from Mexico wins her job back. A Texas teacher who lost her job after asking President Trump on Twitter, completely removed from work on Twitter, to remove illegal students from Mexico from her school, won an appeal to get her job back. Texas Education Agency Commissioner Mike Morath ruled Monday that the series of offensive tweets sent in May by Georgia Clark, an English teacher at Carter Riverside High School in Fort Worth, were protected by the First Amendment, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram reports. Zounds. A person who actually supports First Amendment rights when those terrible, onerous tweets were not made on school time, on school property. Here's another piece of audio, and it's you probably don't remember, but I said this a while ago. If I had mad editing skills, video and audio skills, I have some audio editing skills, zero video editing skills, I would use all the sound bites in the past year or more proffered by leftists, Democrats, and the American media maggots against them as a perfect commercial saying Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, for 2020 once again. Apparently someone listened to me. This is a new RNC ad which uses Democrats' own words on impeachment against them.
Preventing a potentially disastrous outcome from occurring next year.
And I'd like to impeach the bastard right now.
An imposter. He really should be punished.
That charlatan in the White House.
We're gonna impeach the motherfucker.
I am not running for anything except the impeachment of Trump.
We cannot accept a second term for Donald Trump.
If we don't impeach this president, he will get reelected.
Yeah. So if you want to do something about that, you can go to stopthemadness.com and donate. Oh, did I forget to tell you this? I think I may have. Because of impeachment proceedings, donations to the RNC and to Donald Trump have more than quadrupled. They've skyrocketed. In the meantime, donations to the Democrats, they've kind of tanked a little bit. Here's another story. Poll. Majority of voters want a presidential candidate who is against mass migration. You didn't hear about this story either, did you? Because it runs against the meme of the American media maggots. Majority of voters want a presidential candidate who is against mass migration. Well, that leaves out every presidential candidate on the Democrat side. Don't it? It sure do. A new Harvard-Harris poll found that 6 in 10 U.S. voters are more likely to back 2020 presidential candidates who promise to have strong border security measures to reduce illegal immigrants. Imagine that. Then there was betrayal. Betrayal occurred on the part of a particular Democrat. If I had a producer, you would have heard betrayal occurs on the part of a Democrat. Okay, but you didn't hear that because I don't have a producer right now. Here's the story. House Dem now sees no value. Where am I? Oh, I lost it. House Dem sees no value in impeachment as polls show falling support among independents. Well, wait a minute. Hasn't anybody, everybody, said that unless you get independents, you're not going to win? Now the independents are falling off impeachment. Michigan Democrat Representative Brenda Lawrence, a prominent supporter of Kamala Harris, who previously supported the impeachment inquiry into President Trump, abruptly announced Sunday she no longer saw any value, air quotes, value, in the process and called for her fellow Democrats to throw their support behind a symbolic censure resolution. Stop. I said about a month ago that I was hearing stirrings from certain individuals saying that, well, maybe we should start talking about a censure of President Trump. Yeah. And so the Lawrence censure remarks are essentially giving the GOP an opening. And of course, the Democrats voted today to adopt the Trump impeachment report. And that was 300 pages of the same crap that you've heard before. And I think for right now, that's where I'm going to end this on a couple of programming notes, because I ran out of time to do the transcript from the Ukraine phone call. I might be able to do that a little bit later, not tonight. Programming note for those of you who are not in chat: there will be no chat show tomorrow because Clint is unavailable. So Wednesday night, go out, drink heavily, and then come back Thursday night, because at this point, I think I've got Dan. I customarily send out about a 28-page contract to the people that are about to appear on the show. Dan has an issue with paragraph 3 on page 25. We're still hammering that out, but I hope to have Dan Butcher back in the saloon Thursday night for at least an hour. Now, if I'm really good, really good, I might have Dan on for the full 2 hours. Now, if I only have him on for an hour, then we're going to talk about what was actually in the transcript of the phone call between President Trump and the Ukraine, because I guarantee you people haven't heard what was actually in that phone call. And then, of course, I will let you guys decide. Well, I report, and then you decide, I guess. So, tomorrow night, sorry, no chat show Wednesday night. Thursday night, I will be back with Dan Butcher, the second best newsman in the business. And, of course, everybody realizes Dan is not going to have anything to say, right? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here from the sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent SHR Media studios, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, spell it with a K. And if you want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at BZEP, at BZEP, and my blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, and of course the Boeing Company, if it ain't Boeing, I ain't going, and by Pratt & Whitney Engines. Thrust, you can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. And of course, thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I will be consorting in less than an hour. Because, you know, it takes me about a half hour to drive to and from the studio here. Thanks to everybody so kindly for being here tonight. Thanks to Jeff Dunitz for being here in the first hour. Thanks to everybody in chat. Thanks to everybody for listening in podcast. No chat show tomorrow. I'll be back Thursday night. I thank you, everybody, for listening. God bless. Take care. Be safe. Thursday night, I'll be here. You too.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.